Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jay. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a quick little tutorial about how I price CDs, albums, 8 tracks, cassette tapes, pretty much any music, physical media. Um, and this isn't a front to back video on how to do an eBay listing. I've already got a video that kind of goes over that. I'll link it in the description. If you haven't watched it and it interests you, check it out. This video is focusing purely on the pricing aspect and the particular tools I use and the processes I have for making the prices of these type of listings. Um, so yeah, I figured it was a good time to go over this information. I've got a table full of CDs back there I've been listing. I still got hundreds to go. I got stacks of records in the next room to go through as well. So I figured it's just a perfect time to go over this real quick. Um, it's a really simple process, but a couple things you need to think about up front. Let me show you the CD I'm listing today, or the one I'm pricing for you today. It's Michael Jackson Bad. It's a CD. It's the 2014 re-release. Um, it shows it down there in that tiny writing. You probably can't see it on the video, but yeah, that's what I'm pricing today. And number one with the pricing anything, not just music, physical media, but any item, you want to know what your costs are. You don't want to know what your entry level is. You want to know what you paid for the item. You want to know what your shipping charges are going to be, your platform fees if you're selling on eBay, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the year, if you're claiming this stuff on your taxes, how much of a tax percentage comes out related to your cost of goods and the profits you made. So really, it's a good idea to figure all this stuff up before you go making a price, because you don't want to shortchange yourself on the price. If you come up too short and you're going negative on selling the item, you cost yourself materials and time wasted and all that. You'd be better off just giving the CD to somebody that might use it, or donate it to your thrift store. Or heck, if you got a lot of other similar items, you could bulk up a bunch of CDs and sell them as a bulk lot on eBay. That's an option. But I don't suggest selling something so cheap that it's going to make you go in the hole or break even, because it's a waste of your time. So, so yeah, figure that out. Figure out your entry level, all your costs, and if it's not worth selling that item, just save it to bulk list it, or give it away. Find somebody that likes that item, give it away to a thrift store or something like that. But if you're in a position you're trying to list the singular item, I'm going to go over step by step how I do it and the tools I use. And it's really simple. I use mostly eBay. You can also use Discogs, which I believe those are the two top tools you're going to want to use for finding the prices of music media items. You could also use Amazon. Amazon's obviously one, because it's one of the biggest websites for selling anything on the internet. It's not one I use particularly, if unless I can't find comparable prices on other platforms. Mostly I use eBay, and I'll use Discog for just like a backup price. But 99% of it's all eBay for me, because that's where I'm selling. That's the competition that I'm having to deal with personally. So it only makes more sense for me to compare those prices. But there's two ways to use eBay for looking at prices. You're trying to price an item. Let me pull up another eBay window here. First one, I've already got Michael Jackson Bad CD pulled up. And what you're going to want to do once you pull your item up, you're going to want to, number one, put the minimum number of words you can in the search bar that'll bring up the item you want. And the reason for that is that it brings up more results. You see, I got 610 results for Michael Jackson Bad CD. If I was to add some extra words in there, it'd probably bring up less results. And if that's not necessary, don't do it, because you're just cutting out comparables out of your prices. So yeah, put in the item, hit search. You're going to want to arrange. It'll probably have best match first. But what I would do is I'd go ahead and click on that, go lowest first. Then on your left bar here, if you've got brand new item, like sealed, go ahead and click brand new. Now, if not, if it's some variation of used, don't click a condition button. Just leave it blank. But if it is brand new, click brand new. And another thing I do is I'll go down here. I'll ignore most of all of this stuff, because if you start putting in genre and type and all that, it might cut out results you don't want to be cut out. Some might cut out stuff you don't want to see, but if you start messing around with too much of that stuff, it's going to cut out too many results, and you don't need to do all that. Just arrange them, type in your item, search, hit low to high. If it's brand new, click brand new. If it's not, leave it blank. And then you're going to come down here and you're going to click buy it now. Okay, now you can see we're listed low to high, buy it now. And then you're going to go down to the listing that you think is a good competition for you. Now, for me, you can see how you got these listings here. They're stock image, or they're like a composite listing that has a ton of CDs. To me, those can't compete with me because I'm listing one CD and one listing. I've got pictures of all the angles. I've got, I'm going to show you mine. I've already showed you a little bit. I've got pictures of the front, the back, not all the sides because it's not sealed. If it had cracks or some other perfections I need to show off on the sides, I'd take pictures of all the sides. Not really necessary in a CD that doesn't have damage to the case. So I just got the spine. You want to get the front, the back, the spine, the inside, the liner note, the CD, and the underside of the CD. And you want to do something similar for an item or a cassette. In the listing, show any kind of picture that will show the customer what they want to see, like just to improve the quality of your listing. Like I say, a stock image listing can't compete with me, so I'm going to skip right over those. I'm going to skip right over these bulk listings, skip right over. Here's just disc, stock image, just disc. Okay, here's one with case. It's listed for $5 plus $4.47 shipping. We're going to click into that and just take a look. Make sure they're selling what they say they're selling. You can see that's a different CD than what we have. I'm going to go back to mine real quick. It's a different reissue. I'm not exactly sure which one that is. 2001. So it's an older reissue. You could try to compete with this one if you want. I probably will. Unless you've got a super rare reissue that's worth way more than the other ones. In most cases, it won't be. I'd just compete with that. I'd compete with that one. He's pretty close. He's got an older reissue. He's got everything. He's got the liner notes, the CDs. It's a comparable listing. He's got good photos, etc. We're going to check out this next one. And you can see his looks like his is the exact same reissue. Looks like it's got the same kind of disc. We're going to check this out. It's probably going to say 2014. Yep, 2014 reissue. So that's our exact CD. So we could compete with this one. If you wanted to ignore that first one since it's a different reissue, you could keep looking. You could look at this one. And that's the same one that we have, I'm pretty sure, the 2014 reissue. Yep. So that might be the one to compete with. That's probably the one I'll end up competing with. And pricing, it's real simple. You just add the cost of the price they're asking plus the shipping it shows. Right there it shows $4.99 plus $6.29. That's going to be $11.28. So there's your price for that CD. Now, if you want to cross-check it and see what it may be sold for, if you can't find a good solid price within current listings, what you'll do, I'm going to close this window, but you'll go back up to the top, hit advanced in the top right corner. And a good way to do this, if you want to keep this page up showing the pre-owned, this is normally what I'll do. When I'll show the active listings, I'll leave this page up, I'll hold control and hit advanced, and it brings up a separate window. That way you can have your current listings, you can have your sold listings in another window. So yeah, it's going to bring up your find items. I don't change any categories or anything here, any keywords. I'll just hit sold. And it's also going to bring up completed items automatically. Hit search. Alright. And then we're going to typically you want to see more results because I don't want to take anything out. And then here I'm going to go highest first on the sold just to see. And you're probably going to see stuff that is not what you have. But the reason I do this is because I want to see the max that an item went for Um, Now there might be too many examples in this search. It looks like it might be too many examples of sold high to low, but I'll scroll for a minute just to take a look. You're seeing ones with crazy shipping. See, those are the only reason those have crazy shipping because they're international. You can see that one says Italy. This one up here says United Kingdom. So you can ignore those high shipping prices. And then we're just going to go down and see if we can find ours. How about this? I'm going to say Michael Jackson Bad CD 2014. See if we can get the 2014 reissue just to pop up. Okay, here's the first one. That one sold $19.99. Well, that was Canadian. $14.65 American, $9.22 delivery. So that delivery charge is probably a little bit inflated because it's Canada. Excuse me. Here's one sold. That's brand new. So let's keep going down. Brand new, new other. Okay. So you see brand new ones selling for like $10. So you can't reasonably expect to get much more than $10. Here's another one that went higher than $10, but it was brand new. So let's go back to the current. We're going to go off the current in this case because the sold listings didn't give us really what we wanted to look at. I mean, I could keep scrolling down, but that's results matching fewer words. See where it says results matching fewer words? That's probably because I put the 2014 in there. And like I say, if you wanted to take the time to go through here and take the 2014 back out and just look that way, like I say, there's kind of too many results. You could go from low to high again and then take a look. Really, when you're looking at sold, you're kind of verifying your price. Like the items that are active is probably what you should be competing with. But it's good to go in and look at sold listings because it'll show you what stuff's actually getting bought for. It'll show you if the price you come up with looking at current listings, it'll show you if that price is grossly overestimated or grossly underestimated. And you want neither one of those. If you grossly overestimate your price, it'll take forever to sell, may not sell. And if you grossly underestimate your price, you're underselling yourself and you're not making enough money on the sell. So really, I don't use sold listings as first choice of making prices. I look at it as affirmation of the price I came up with via other sources, such as current eBay listings. So, like I say, in this instance, we would probably compete with one of these down here. I'd probably compete with this one right here. So yeah, I'd add up his price, and I use calculated shipping on my orders, $6.29 plus $4.99. That'd be $11.28. My shipping's going to cost exactly $4.47 because it's medium mail. So we'll subtract $4.47. My price would be $6.81. I'd probably price mine $6.80, so it'll show up right underneath his. And if we do that, that's going to put us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably like 11 or 12 listings from the bottom. So you're not putting downward pressure on the price because you're not right at the bottom. You're competing with somebody that is showing an equal, not just an equal quality product, but an equal quality listing as you. And that's important because don't undersell yourself. Your stuff's going to sell on here. If you offer a good service and a good product and good quality listing, your stuff will sell. You don't have to race to the bottom and try to compete with these thrift stores and bookstores that have the stock images. They're not competing with you. So just price your stuff good and right. Most items I'll list, I'm not at the bottom. I'll be like 5 to 10, sometimes 15 up the page. And it just depends on the quality of the listings, pretty much. Now, besides using eBay to price, next best thing is Discogs. Now, Discogs is a little more in depth. Like, I've already kind of hit some filters here. I put CDs in US, and you can see these are all the options. It shows for Bad by Michael Jackson. So you've kind of got to know exactly what the CD you're dealing with is. I know I've got the 2014 reissue already, so you go with this one. And you can see it's got way more info. This Discogs is a way more in-depth site for keeping up with the albums, CDs, etc. All the details, all the different reissues and printings, reviews. You can see it's got statistics for have and want and average rating. It's just, if you're steeped in music culture, this is a really cool site. I suggest using it whether you're selling or not. But for selling purposes, it is good to check prices, especially when you can't find something on eBay, or the stuff you find on eBay, you're not thinking it's giving you enough information. I come to Discogs to kind of go through their prices a little bit and see what they got. So, for instance, like this is the CD, the actual release of the album that I have. If you go down here, it'll show, let's see, Shop 12 CDs. So, if you got this CD listed on here 12 times, and it's already got the price loaded, arranged low to high, and it'll show you the United States dollar price, abouts, and it's varying quite a bit there because of the different currencies. But in general, it's got a range low to high. So cheapest one there is $7.90. I'm gonna skip over that one because they the miscalculation there. 21, 13, 14, 14, 8.99, 14, 18. So yeah, you can kind of see where the price falls into. Ours fell into 11.28. I think we have a pretty good price. Like I say, some of these are kind of low, kind of high. And being that we're not selling them on Discogs, I'm not gonna take these prices here as gospel. Like I say, Discogs, I wouldn't use the Discog prices. I wouldn't stick to them too closely unless you're selling on Discogs, which I've never done. I'm sure it's not too hard. But unless you're selling on Discogs, I wouldn't use those prices as gospel. I'm selling on eBay. I just use Discogs as further confirmation of price. So, a quick recap. I use current eBay listings, arrange low to high. I click buy it now to filter out those bids, and I click brand new to filter out the used. If I've got a brand new item, if I don't click any of these other filters because I want as many examples as I can find. But yeah, like I say, range low to high, buy it now. Make sure you've got the shortest name you can that'll bring up your product, and just find the second or third item that competes with your quality of listing, your quality of item, and give yourself a similar, same price or slightly below that price. Of course, take into account whether you're using free shipping or calculated shipping. I always use calculated shipping. So it'll make your price, if you're using calculated shipping, subtract that amount or subtract the base amount of what a calculated shipping would be out of yours. Like I say, before you do any of this, come up with a minimum price for your item, what it costs you to acquire, the eBay fees, the shipping label, etc. Don't sell something and put yourself in the hole. You're better off just not selling it. But like I say, if you can't come up with it in current listings, use sold listings to help you verify your price. And you can go even further to use Discogs to verify your price. Now for these music items, I don't hardly ever use Amazon. I have before. But typically if you can't find it on eBay, you can find it on Discogs. And that's that. You know what I'm saying? Really simple process. It's a similar pricing strategy I do for most items. But I wanted to make this video real quick specifically for the music items. Pretty much to point out the Discogs and the different reissues and reprints of your item. Now some CDs out there, like this one has several reprints. Some are rarer than others. I've had old hip-hop CD albums where one printing was super rare, like $40-50, and the other version or the other reissues of that album were like less than $10. So the reissue is not always going to matter, but sometimes it really does. You could have a super rare version of a CD that's worth $50-60, but you messed around and sold it for $6. So it's kind of good to know what your reissue is if it's a CD that has a bunch of reissues. Of course, Michael Jackson Bad does because I mean, like I say, it's the king of pop. You know what I'm saying? He's been on top for years, even after his death. Before he was an adult, there's 100 reissues of the same album. So it's just a thing to keep in mind when you're pricing these old CDs or records or cassettes, etc. But that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to go over this real quick. I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching this. I hope it helped you. If it did help you, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and share with anybody else you know that might help. But we'll see you guys next time. I appreciate y'all. Peace.